Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. Before I start with the topic of the video and what I'm about to talk about, I want to just shout out to EJ Gaming. I know that I usually do ad rolls for the videos that I do, and I'm very thankful to my editor for doing that. But I kind of wanted to do this personally because this is an event that was imperative to members of the team, and as you'll understand further on with more context, you'll understand why I'm shouting them out in the first place. So, uh, check out their store. I do have a link in the description if you are interested in cards. I do have a discount code if you're interested in that. We do have nice cards for sale. We have sets like the Rarity Collection and Age of Overlord. And yeah, that's about it. So that's it for a shout out. So now for the content. So greetings, duelist. So this is a deck profile for an event that I attended yesterday. It was a PlayStation 5 tournament that was exclusive to be pre-registered. So it did have a player cap. The player cap was around 44 players. And I attended at this event at last minute. Shout outs to Emmanuel Rodriguez, who is a team member of EJ Gaming. I was talking to him yesterday because uh, we pretty much were doing hard theory on the deck that he piloted for that event. And as we were talking about the event, he pretty much went and told me, "Hey, uh, you could have gone to this event because one of the team members is not going." And uh, I made a judgment call. I pretty much at last minute decided to go to the event, check if I actually can join and actually register. Registrations were full at the time, but there was one other member. Shout outs to David Ruiz from Money Glitch. Uh, he told me that one of his team members could not fill in the spot, so he gave me his spot of one of his team members to play for the event. So massive shout outs to both of them. So it was a 44 player event, as I mentioned earlier. 6 rounds of Swiss and then top eight. First place was PlayStation 4. Not PlayStation 5. My bad. Second place was Switch Lite, which I did earn. Sadly, I don't have the Switch Lite on me. I sold it immediately at the event because I already own a Nintendo Switch. However, if you guys are interested, depending on the channel growth, I might do a giveaway for one of those because I do own more than one. Uh, but yeah, that's another topic for another day. Thank you to everybody who has been subscribed and like following this channel by now. But going back to the event, so I made the finals of that event. As I already mentioned, my ending record was 5-1 in Swiss, which put me on fourth place, right after Swiss. And then I played top eight, top four, and then lost to the finals. So I'm going to show you the deck, and then I'll talk about my matchups, and then I'll talk about my player experience. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. So I played Unchained Labrynth. This is a deck I've already been piloting earlier. So I'll just show ratios. 3 Ariana, 3 Stovey, 3 Chandraglier, Lovely, Lady, Arias, Kuklok. Not only one thing changed here from the last list, and I'll cover that after I show the rest of the list. Triple Aruha, Triple Sharvara, Sarama, Shiyama, Abominable. That's it for the Unchained names, 9 of them. Still no Rakea. Um, 3 Prosperities, 3 Abomination. Those are for spell cards. I did not want to lose to anti-spell, so that's one of the reasons for this deck choice. Welcome. Big welcome. That's it for the lab traps. 2 escape, 3 chambers. That's it for the unchained traps. The only hand trap that I made, unless you count the furnitures as hand traps, because I did interrupt my opponent with furnitures throughout the event. 3 imperm. Karma Cannon, Skill Drain, and the new addition to the deck, which didn't do a lot, but we'll talk about it, was Dimensional Barrier. The quarter century one. So that's it for the main deck. We'll go to the extra now. I bumped Yama to 3, so now there are 3 copies of the Unchained Soul King of Yama. 2 Rage, 1 Anguish, 1 Abominable Unchained, 1 SP Little Knight, 1 Muck, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Griffin, Underworld Goddess, Chaos Angel, Typhon, and DDD. I guess I should take out the side deck. So side decks are here. So for side, triple Ash Blossom, triple Droll, 1 Lava Golem, 1 Sphere Mode, triple Cosmic Cyclone, and I had 4 new additions to the deck, which is the 3 copies of Rivalry of the Warlords and Magic Deflector. I'm pretty sure people are curious on the explanation behind these, which I will get to at the moment. So, why did I pick Unchained Labrynth? So, the number 1 reason for picking up this deck is it is the deck that I've practiced the most in this format, and it's one of the decks that I knew they had a lot of really good resiliency for the common trends that are happening in this format. In this format, we have a lot of hand traps that are running around, and a lot of decks that have their engine requirements being very, very crucial for them to do well in a simplified game state. I felt like the hybrid of Labrynth with Unchained was really, really, really strong for that, because the main weaknesses that Unchained has are weaknesses that are mitigated by the Labrynth cards. And I don't think it comes to a surprise where the Unchained is like one of the top 3 decks at the moment. So the really bolstering power of Unchained as a whole warranted me to play a deck that had a variance of cards that were just as impactful as Unchained. The other deck choice that I would have played for this event, I can show it at the end of the profile for those curious. So you just have to stick to the profile up until the very, very end, because I will make a discussion on that. But I think I'm actually very, very satisfied with my deck choice. I'm not saying that just because I made it to the finals. I say it mainly because it was a deck that rewarded me for the amount of practice that I had with it. I had players come to me, shout outs to those, that pretty much like told me, hey, mad respect for playing a deck that you actually been playing for like big events left and right. And I was very, very, very close to not play this deck. Again, I will talk about it a little bit later. I do have the deck right here. But now getting to the Swiss rounds. So round one was going to be against Abraham Rivera. I think he was playing Rescue Ace. He arrived late to the event, so sadly I had the edge on that end, and I secured round one. Round two was against Jose Horta, which was also on Rescue Ace. I lost the die roll. Game one, he pretty much bricked, and game two, it was a very, very strong game. He resolved his entire engine game one. I mean, in the second game, I had a very clutch Cosmic Cyclone that I needed to resolve, hitting one of his rescue trap cards. Uh, because if that ended up being the case, I could have broken through the entire board with the cards that I had on hand. Uh, the last card being turning a summoned Ariana into Typhon to contest against the last monster he had on board and put him on top deck position. Because he ended on Baron plus 3 traps. The 3 traps being Rescue, Extinguish, and Contain. But I missed the 50-50. I hit the Rescue with the Cosmic Cyclone, and that was the last interruption that he needed to like contest with the Typhon that I was going to summon, and that secured him game two. Game three, I went first, and I opened Ariana Big Welcome Coup Clock and the Furniture, and I think I opened one Unchained Trap, and he pretty much let it resolved. And if you played Labyrinth as much as I have, you understand that if your Ariana resolves and you already have your furnitures on rotation, it's really, really strong. Like, you're not building a massive board, but you are picking apart your opponent's resources, and you're pretty much simplifying the game state where the opposing player is playing at your pace, and your deck is really strong in a slower paced duel when you're mitigating and capitalizing on your opponent's resources. So that's what happened on round two. Round three was against Unchained. I lost the die roll again. So game one, he pretty much opened his entire engine. He opened Tour Guide, he opened Prosperity. He resolved Prosperity, grabbing like one of the Unchained trap cards. So he had both trap cards in rotation. He did the combo that ends on the DDD with the Rage in the Graveyard, which is a combo that I am doing with in this deck, and it's very, very easy to do in this version. Especially with the Labyrinth cards. So this deck technically has a higher ceiling than Unchained if you do that combo. But going back to the match, he pretty much resolved all his entire engine. My engine was not strong enough to break through his entire board. Therefore, he secured game one. Game two, I pretty much resolved my resources, and two crucial cards that helped me on that match was the Ash Blossom that I had in my hand, and it was the Skill Drain. So I put him up on a situation where he had to play with minimal resources. He prosperityed for 6. After almost clearing my entire board, I still had the Skill Drain set. He tried to do Unchained combo. I ashed it, and then he normal summoned Tour Guide, and I flipped Skill Drain, and that secured my game two. Game three, he pretty much had maximum resources again. I had very minimal resources. I tried to trade back and forth with him. Time was called in the round, and he won because of the effect of the DDD Do King X Machinax. using its effect to return the contract and gain 1,000 life points, which is a very valid play, and it is part of the Unchained engine, so there's nothing that much that can be said about it. So that was round three. Round four was against Tournaments, which is my absolute worst matchup. Um, and I also lost the die roll, which made it extremely worse. Game one, he opened. I think he opened Foolish Burial. I know he opened a way to like mill guaranteed Agido, and that Agido snowballed advantage, and then he triggered Scream and he triggered Tier Limit Kashtira, and I pretty much just scoop it up early because this deck has a really bad track record against tier limits, and it's not because of how horrible the matchup is, because the matchup is really that bad. It's more so on the fact that a lot of time is like eaten away when you're trying to trade resources with them. And my biggest issue with tier limits as a whole is if they have an obstacle, you fight through that obstacle. That's a lot of time that's already wasted in the round. And if they end up milling the right cards and they have the right resources to get back into the duel or just have a massive blowout, that was a lot of time that you already wasted on trying to like capitalize on resources just for them to win with new resources. And that's one thing I don't like about the tournaments matchup. It's pretty much very RNG. Uh, like this game is RNG in general, but that matchup itself is already RNG as a whole. But game two, I capitalized on resources, um, and I put them on like a slow player position. I mean, like on a very strong position. And then we go to game three. Okay, game three he opened Foolish Burial, but I did open Ash Blossom. And then he tried. I let the Foolish Burial resolve. He dumped Agido. He tried to do Agido effect, and then I chained Ash Blossom, and then he went activate Scream, set two pass, and during the end phase, what I ended up doing is because I opened Stove, I opened Big Welcome Labyrinth, and I did open the Lady. And what I ended up doing was I did and I opened Cool Clock as well. So that was the rest of my hand alongside the Ash Blossom. So I went Stovey Pitch, Summon Lady. After I set the regular welcome, then I went Cool Clock effect, welcome flip, summoned Ariana to add. I chained the lady, and with the lady, I set an imperm on one of the set card columns, and then with the big welcome labyrinth that I had in the graveyard that I pitched out the furniture, I bounced the last set card, and that pretty much worked out. He did summon a halfness during my end phase, and he milled with the halfness, and the halfness milled a tier cache, and that was already getting frustrating at that point because time was already running out, but he ended up milling a second Scream and another card, so he didn't manage to get into a fusion monster. So it that pretty much worked out because then on my turn, he flipped. There can be only one, but I immediately flipped the Infinite Impermanence, targeting the halfness that was on board, meaning that it would negate the there can be only one because it was on the same column, and that pretty much secured me the match. So that was round four. Round five was against Vanquish Soul. Shout outs to Israel. I think he's the second best Vanquish Soul player in Puerto Rico. Jose Matos being the first one. Uh, He almost topped Nats this year with Vanquish Soul. For those who don't know, he got 65th place. So just one number short, and he had the same track record as a lot of people who made it, like Pac, for example. So I faced against Israel. Game he won the die roll and he opened Rosin, which is the best card in Vanquish Soul. Like if you've seen this channel, you already know how strong advocate I am on Vanquish Soul. And if you resolve Rosin, like it's you're in a really strong position. I did have infinite impermanence in my hand. However, I held the imperm until he summoned Rock of the Vanquisher and tried to use Rock of the Vanquisher effect. Because as important as it is to stop Razin, if they have Borgar or Caesar and they tag out the Razin, you lost your imperm and they get a significant amount of advantage from it. So if you face Vanquish Soul, you can make that play because if they really don't have the other two cards, you do put them at a very strong position like against them, but I just did not want to take that risk. We talked later after the match, and he did not have Borger or Caesar, so I could have impermed it. Uh, that being said, this was not enough for game one. Then we went to game two. Game two, one card that really helped me a lot was Rivalry of the Warlords. I did side this in and I did open with it, and this was enough to secure me game two. I know that floodgates are kind of cringe, but sometimes you kind of have to do it against like very strong matchups if you can, mitigate that. And in my defense, I'm pretty sure that he was playing There Can Be Only One, which is essentially the reverse version of Rivalry. So it was going to become a standoff of who would have drawn their floodgate. Game three, he went first. He summoned the Fenrir, and I made a judgment call. And the judgment call that I made was immediately imperming it, and this was my only interruption. Well, actually, no, that's incorrect. I did have another interruption, which was Ash Blossom. So I did open Ash Imperm, and he opened Rhoda Fenrir. So he summoned Fenrir. He did Fenrir effect. I immediately impermed it. He activated Rhoda, and I immediately ashed it, and that was enough to like stop him because he didn't have any other Vanquish Soul, and he didn't have other cards to like respond to this place. He set two cards and passed, and I did open Rivalry again, so this pretty much just secured me the match. Round six was against Ignacio Galarza. He was playing Unchained. Really good player. Shoutouts to Team The Extenders. All great people. So I won the die roll this time. That was the first die roll that I won. And I went first, and I pretty much opened Ariana plus full on chain combo, and I also opened Imperm. He had a really strong hand to try to push through the board, but the actual ending play that he did with that hand involved summoning Tour Guide, and I impermed it, and that was enough to secure the game because he had Charvara in hand, but I also had SP Little Knight that I summoned earlier in that same turn by linking away with Rage. So that pretty much secured my game one. And game two, he bricked, which is really unfortunate. Like he opened, I think was double Unchained Trap, Cosmic Cyclone, uh, Vice King DDD, and I don't remember the last card, but I think it was an Ash Blossom. But yeah, it's just really unfortunate. So that was 2-0. And now we're going to talk about top 8. So top 8, I faced what I think would have been, I guess I can call it that. It was my most interesting match of the entire event, which is Phantom Knight Horus Bestial with the Red Dragon engine. If people have seen the list from Kaylin Garcia, which is or otherwise known as Cookie. It was basically pretty much the Bestial Horus deck, but they also played Phantom Knight cards in it. It was a really cool deck. Really cool guy. Shout outs to him, Christian Cintrón, or Pijo, I think is his nickname. Really good, really good guy. Really great match. I haven't talked to that guy in a long time, so it was nice catching up with him. He showed me his list right afterwards. He kind of showed me like the ratios and the stuff that he was doing with the deck. So, um, I lost the die roll, but he didn't end on really strong resources. One card that really helped me on that match, and I will say it was really the MVP of that match entirely, was Daruma Karma Cannon. I did so resolve the Karma Cannon, setting like 3 monsters, and that really helped me like game one, and it also won me game two. Yeah, it was a very strong match because he did have a lot of bestial monsters, and he just kept summoning those bestials on me and just like diminishing my resources. One misplay that I did was that I activated Prosperity, and I had a big welcome that I could have grabbed out of Prosperity, and I already had a big welcome in the graveyard, and I could have like easily broken through the entire board by playing the slow game. Well, not the slow game, the control game with big welcome and abominable Unchained Soul, which is an interaction that not many people caught on to, and it did secure me a couple of games. So if you ever play this hybrid, remember this interaction does exist, and it can win you a lot of games. So that was the end of that match. Um, Top four was against Gary Rosas, which is again a fellow teammate member of EJ Gaming. Shout out to the entire team. He was playing Rescue Ace. Game one, he summoned the Dark Witch, and he pitched a second copy of the Dark Witch. And I pretty much made a judgment call. My thought process was that I felt that my hand was not going to be bothered if he ended up resolving Turbulence effect. But however, I wanted him to actually use resources for that, and that would involve him using his normal summon. The only actual normal summon that could have secured him like that position into doing full combo would have been Airlifter. But he did not open neither with Airlifter nor with Hydrant. So after I impermed the Dark Witch, he normal summoned Ash Blossom. He made Baron the floor, and he set 2 and passed, which was double imperm. Ironically enough. So I draw for turn, and I opened Aruha Charvara, and I opened Prosperity. So I normaled Aruha, and I tried to do Charvara effect. If he would have contested with Baron the floor, that means his Baron would be negated. I mean, his Baron would have already wasted his negate. The Charvara will go to the graveyard, meaning that I could grab Escape, and then I could use the Escape on his turn and pop his Baron, and just play with the resources that way. He did not negate the Charvara, so now I'm relying on him not negating the Aruha effect. If he negates the Aruha, I still have Prosperity, and I still have. And I already wasted my normal summon, but if the Prosperity would have grabbed me like one of the Unchained traps, I could have used it to just capitalize on his resource, popped his Baron, and just put him on a top deck situation, because I would have popped my Charvara would have set Chamber, and then the Chamber could bring back like another monster on the following turn, and like just keep going and looping resources that way. He did not negate the Aruha, and that was a huge mistake on his end, because the Aruha made it so I can summon Abominable, and the Abominable was big. I just summoned Abominable. I did not activate effect. I crashed into his Baron, and then I prosperityed for escape, and I pretty much put them on a very tough situation. And to make matters worse, I did open skill drain as well. So pretty much the goal of that game was to make him waste his Baron negate, and then just try to win the grind game with just Charvara and skill drain, and looping my Unchained resources. Game two, he bricked. Um, unfortunate circumstances. The match ended in like 20 minutes. Um, Shoutouts to Gotti, really great player. He pummeled his way into victory, into getting to top four. So that was a very well deserved top from his end. And now let's talk about the finals. So, um, there is a feature match of the finals. That is recorded. They did stream the matchups of the event. So, in the future, if people here are interested, we can do a watch along of the. Well, not watch along. I can do a player commentary, commenting over my match in the finals, because I will say this: I did fumble that game. I did a few bad judgment calls. I think it was more on the fact that I haven't eaten the entire event. I did not have any rest between rounds, and it was pretty much already too late. And I guess I my headspace was not in the correct space, because it was against Tier Element, which is again my worst matchup. And shoutouts to Afa, nothing against him. He did play a little bit slow. He did get a gameplay warning because of that, because you know, he actually was slow playing, and I know it was not his fault. I know it was not his intention to do it, but uh, he naturally just plays a little bit slower than usual, and that is something that also took me out of concentration, because again, against the tier matchup, the time is very important. Like that's a deck that any player can, that draws or opens well, can spend more than 50 minutes in the turn just doing their plays left and right, which is something that he actually did, and he capitalized on it, and it did win him the match. Something that did happen that was very unfortunate is that I bricked game three. I opened Kuklok, Abominable, Shigama, and Welcome, and regular Welcome Labyrinth, which is very unfortunate. Like opening for one ofs in a deck that has very consistent amount of starters. It do be like that, but I didn't break the entire event until that very last round. So eventually it would have happened. I did throw game one, so in theory you could say that game three could have been on my favor depending on how I opened. Even this hand was like not the strongest, but could have done something maybe. But yeah, that was the entire player experience. That was the entire like event and like the duels. Now, so now that I covered the deck choice, the event, how it played out, and like the pricing and everything that happened, I guess let's do some channel updates. So prior to this event, uh, this is the deck I would have played for this event if I actually owned all the cards. I'm still missing a few cards, so after all those cards are received, I expect a deck profile, like right after I do so. But if I had all the cards, this would have been the deck I would have played at the event. Uh, if you've been tuning into my channel right now, you already know that I was practicing Valence for a long time. Well, for a good amount of time. And like I won't go on depth with this deck profile, because again, this is more about my player report with the Unchained deck than like a double deck profile. However, um, My reasoning behind this deck would have been that it is a deck that can play through hand traps, like very very strong. It has a really really high ceiling. I do have like really strong bomb cards that like just secure certain matchups like Secret Village, and more importantly, I don't think any player in the room would have known what my deck did. And player knowledge is very, very, very crucial this format. Like, is a main difference between players knowing what to do with with their cards and not. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, Not much to say. Uh, I hope you found this video informative. I hope you found this video to your liking and understanding. More content coming soon. I know that the channel has been slow on up and doing content and videos as of late. The main reason for that is because I have been very very busy with family during the holidays, and this month is also a holiday season. And I'm also doing part time, and I'm doing other stuff on the side that doesn't occupies a little bit of chances of the channel. I wish to be doing this full time, but it do be like that. Uh, but yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this channel. Thanks for like supporting me with videos, and yeah, uh, I'll we're nearing the Christmas season, so I might be doing giveaways very very soon. Uh, I did hit a few milestones that I kind of wanted to reach this year, and it's all possible because of you guys, the viewers and the subscribers. So I do want to actually incentivize something to you guys in the future. That's it from me. Keep practicing and keep doing.